and we have not liberated us because we didn't know Jesus Lord. Today is a big day, and I like to thank all the parents who have learned this Jesus or which they did not know to teach their children. It is the most important thing. So I'm very, very proud of all the parents. Then I like to thank all the students, all the young days that they have come with prepared mind, which I could not believe it. So most of them have returned to give the God to take this. अनंत अनंत काल गया है हमने जीव तत्व को जानना है जाना है वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट और आज जो उन्होंने लिखा है everybody has done excellent research to speak for the importance of God for the youth. I like to thank all the Pathshala teachers, and also I like to thank both the judges. We have Ilan Badiya and Arshavin Shah, who are going to give the mark. 5 marks for the Indian Rohit, saying then your age. And also, they give you 10 marks for the substance of Jiv Tattva. Wherever you have picked, but it's very important the substance. And the third 5 marks are to deliver. Is very important. So 20 marks and out of 40, you need to get the grade. First winner will be $100. Second winner will be $90. Third winner will be $80. Fourth is 70, and fifth is 50. And the rest of all the runners up get $35. We have 3 sponsors, Vitisha and Peveri, Nayan Shah and Harsha and one remains another. Here also be his name. We share all this money around $700 to promote Jainism in our class. And we have been doing this thing from last 3 to 5 years. And today is a big day. We have increased the price level also. So I like to see that everybody brings and get prepared yourself. Prepare yourself to deliver in such a way that everybody comes number one. The most important thing that अनंत काल से हम घूम रहा है और आज तक हमने जीव तत्व को अनंत अनंत बार हमने अनंत अनंत क्रिया की है अनंत क्रिया की है पर जीव तत्व को जानने के लिए क्रिया होनी चाहिए तो जीव तत्व को जाना नहीं है तो क्रिया अनंत बार वर्षित की है अनंत बार मास्क की है अनंत बार उपवास विश्राम की है अनंत बार हमने तीर्थ यात्रा की है तो जितने भी पंच परमेश के हो गए लोगों ने जीव तत्व पहले जाना पीछे जाना वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट तो आज का सब्जेक्ट we are 20 participants. Hirwa Shah, Parvash Soni, Pavitra Soni, Avik Jain, Daksh Jain, Mihan Jain, Sanat Nanawat, Dhawan Jain, Lokya Jain, Arya Jain, Ayan Shah, Anshi Shah, Aditya Jain, Parth Jain, Vidit Jain, Shreya Jain, Harish Jain, Bhavya Jain, Kabir Jain, Manasvi Shah. So we have 20 participants, and I like to congratulate for your excellent effort, the parents and the children, in coming and standing up and going to sit on their Vyas feet to deliver your essay. It's a great honor for you and a great honor for Delhi. We give everybody, once they complete one person, every person, child expects the big flows of strength. You know why? It's not a small thing. It's not a small thing to speak with Jesus. So first I'd like to invite Nirva Shah. Great. You can take the mic. No.
Jai Hindra. My name is Hirva Shah and I'm 11 years old. In Jainism, the concept of Kirtana is one of the most fundamental elements.
You gotta put the volume up.
What?
Say something.
બરાબર છે ના બરાબર છે ટિકિટ લાગી
It's the highest I can do.
Jai Hindra. My name is Hirva Shah and I'm 11 years old.
Silent, please. Let every child speak and we have to be silent. Please. Go ahead.
In Jainism, the concept of Jeev Tattva is one of the most fundamental elements of its philosophical system. Jain philosophy explains reality through several basic principles called tattvas, and among them Jeev, the living soul, is central. The understanding of Jeev Tattva helps explain life, consciousness, karma, and the path of spiritual liberation. Meaning of Jeev. The word Jeev comes from the Sanskrit root Jeev, meaning to live. In Jain philosophy, Jeev refers to any living conscious soul. It is characterized by consciousness, which is considered its essential quality. Every living being, from humans and animals to plants and even microscopic organisms, possesses a soul. Jain thinkers describe the soul as eternal, indestructible, and capable of infinite knowledge, perception, bliss, and energy. Jeev is fundamentally different from non-living substances. Jain philosophy divides reality into two broad categories: living and non-living. While Jeev possesses consciousness and awareness, a Jeev consists of substances such as matter, time, space, motion, and rest that do not have consciousness. Characteristics of Jeev. According to Jain philosophy, the soul has several natural qualities. Here are the 5 main qualities. Number 1, consciousness. The primary attribute of the soul is awareness and perception. Number 2, knowledge. Every soul inherently possesses infinite knowledge, although it may be obscured by karma. Number 3, bliss. The pure state of the soul is one of perfect happiness. Number 4, energy or power. The soul has the capacity for action and spiritual development. Number 5, eternal existence. The soul is never created or destroyed. It only changes its state. However, in worldly existence, these pure qualities are not fully expressed because the soul is bound by karmic particles. Bondage of the soul. In Jain philosophy, the soul becomes entangled with karma, which is viewed as subtle material particles that attach to the soul due to actions, passions, and desires. These karmic particles limit the soul's natural abilities such as infinite knowledge and bliss. Because of karmic bondage, the soul undergoes cycles of birth and death, known as samsara. Actions like violence, anger, greed, pride, and deceit attract karmic matter. Over time, these karmas determine the soul's experiences, including its body, lifespan, and circumstances in different births. Classification of living beings. Jain philosophers classify souls according to their number of senses. This classification highlights the presence of life in even the simplest organisms. One-sense beings would be plants, earth-bodied, water-bodied, fire-bodied, and air-bodied organisms. Two-sense beings would be worms and similar creatures. Three-sense beings would be ants and lice. Four-sense beings would be bees and flies, and five-sense beings would be humans and higher animals. This classification supports the strong ethical emphasis on nonviolence, since even the smallest life forms possess a soul. Liberation of the soul. The ultimate goal in Jain philosophy is moksha, or liberation. Liberation occurs when the soul completely frees itself from karmic matter through ethical conduct, self-discipline, meditation, and knowledge. A soul can gradually stop the influx of karma and shed accumulated karma. When all karmas are destroyed, the soul can its pure state of infinite knowledge, perception, bliss, and energy. Great spiritual teachers such as Mahavira explain the path of liberation through right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct, known as the three jewels of Jainism. Conclusion. Jiva Tattva is a central concept in Jain philosophy that explains the nature of life and consciousness. It teaches that every living being possesses an internal soul capable of spiritual perfection. The bondage of karma keeps the soul trapped in the cycle of birth and death. But through ethical living, knowledge, and discipline, liberation is possible. By emphasizing the presence of the soul in all forms of life, Jain philosophy also promotes compassion, respect for life, and the practice of nonviolence as essential moral values. Jai Jain.
Daughter of Mitesh and Palak Shah. Jai Jai. Thank you. Next one we have Jai, son of Mohit and Shweta Jain, please.
So.
You can start now.
Yes.
Jai Janendra. Whenever we hear the name Srimadji, many of us immediately remember the phrase Sahajatva Swarup Param Guru. Sometimes, when we hear such deep spiritual words, we might nod our heads like we completely understand what this means, even if we are still thinking, wait, what exactly does that mean? But this meaning is actually very insightful. Sahajatma Swarup Param Guru means the supreme teacher who shares the same pure nature as the Jeev itself. In other words, the enlightened teacher reminds us that the same pure potential exists within every soul. Today, I will speak about the Jeev Tattva, the fundamental principle that explains Jeev, Karma, and Moksha. According to Jain philosophy, the universe consists of two eternal categories, Jeev and Ajeev. Jeev refers to all living beings with consciousness, while Ajeev refers to non-living substances such as matter, space, time, motion, and rest. Every being that has consciousness is a Jeev. This includes animals, birds, insects, plants, and even microscopic organisms. Because every form of life contains a Jeev, Jain philosophy teaches us to respect and show compassion towards all living beings. The most important quality of a jeev is chitna, or consciousness. In its pure state, every jeev possesses four infinite qualities: Anant Gyan, Anant Darshan, Anant Sukha, and Anant Virya. However, we do not experience these qualities fully because the soul becomes covered by karma. In Jainism, karma is believed to be extremely fine particles of matter that attach to the jeev when our emotions are influenced by anger, pride, greed, or attachment. A simple way to understand this is through something we all use every day. Can you guess what it is? Well, this is a cellular phone. If your phone storage becomes full of apps, photos, and unnecessary files, it becomes slow and does not work properly. I experienced this recently when my phone started lagging. I had no clue what the reason was until I checked the storage. All of the files and apps were taking up so much space that my phone wasn't able to work properly. In the same way, negative thoughts and actions add karmic particles to the jeev. Over time, these karmas weigh and the soul down and keep it trapped in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. Jeev can also be classified in different ways. First, based on liberation. Samsari jeev are souls that still trapped in the cycle of birth and death. Mukta jeevs are liberated souls who have achieved moksha. Second, based on mobility. Stavra jeev and Trasa jeev. The spiritual progress of a jeev is determined through 14 stages called the Gunashrams, which represent the journey from ignorance to enlightenment. The journey begins with Mithyatava, or wrong belief, and gradually progresses towards Gevalgyan, the perfect knowledge, and finally Moksha, liberation. Now let us look at the non-tattva, the 9 fundamental principles. 1. Jeev. 2. Ajeev. 3. Asta. 4. Bham. 5. Punya. 6. Pap. 7. Samvar. 8. Nirjara. 9. Moksha. These principles explain how karma binds the jeev and how the soul can become free. To achieve liberation, Jain philosophy teaches the 3 jewels, also called the Ratnatraya. The first jewel is right faith, Samyak Darshan, believing in the true nature of reality. The second jewel is right knowledge, Samyak Darshan, believing in the true nature. Samyak Gyan, understanding the soul, karma, and the path to liberation. The third jewel is right conduct, Samyak Charitra, living an ethical life through non-violence, truthfulness, honesty, self-control, and non-possessiveness. When these 3 are all practiced together, the inflow of karma stops, and existing karma begins to fall away. When all karma is removed, the jeev becomes liberated. A liberated soul rises to Siddhaloka, where it exists forever in a state of infinite knowledge, perception, bliss, and energy. Understanding Jeev Tattva can teach us important lessons. It teaches respect for all life, reminds us that our actions create karma, and shows that every soul has the potential to achieve liberation. In conclusion, the Jain philosophy teaches that every living being within carries a pure and eternal soul with infinite potential. Through right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct, the jeev can free itself from karma and achieve moksha. Michami Dukkadam.
Parents are very confident and patient. They work very hard on it. They told me yesterday. And I said, yeah, yes. I have the honest with you. They are so have worked hard. He spoke 2 pages.
And they will use the microphone.
Very nice. Very nice. Now we have Daksh Jain, son of Saurabh and Ikishan. His name is Parv.
Second one.
Parv. P-A-R-V. Parv. Pavitra is not coming. Avik is not coming. So now it does Jain. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Jason and everyone. My name is Doug Strain and I'm in 11th grade. So, as you know, today I'll be talking to you all about Jiva Tattva. So, what really makes all living beings truly alive? Jain philosophy answers this question through the idea of Jiva, the conscious soul present in every form of life. The first and most fundamental of the Nav Tattvas is Jiva Tattva. Jiva means the living soul. It refers to the conscious substance that experiences existence, performs actions, and lives within different forms of living beings. Jain philosophy teaches that the understanding Jiva Tattva forms the foundation for understanding life itself. Jain scriptures explain that the defining characteristic of Jiva is consciousness. The philosophical text Tattvartha Sutra by Acharya Umasvati states the sutra Upayoga Lakshanam Jivasya, which explains that awareness defines the soul. Awareness appears in two main fact forms called darshan and jnana. Darshan refers to perception or awareness without detailed understanding. Jnana refers to knowledge that clearly understands an object or idea. Jain philosophy explains that these two qualities belong naturally to the soul and appear in every living being, according to its level of development. The Agams provide detailed descriptions of the soul. The Acharya Sutra explains that the soul is eternal and indestructible. The body changes through birth and death, yet the soul continues to exist. Jain scriptures also teach that the soul has a unique property called contraction and expansion. The soul occupies exactly the same space as the body it inhabits. When a soul exists in a microscopic organism, it contracts to the size of that organism. When the same soul exists in a large body, it expands to fill that body. Jain philosophical texts also explain that the soul contains countless space units called pradesha. Each pradesha represents a point of existence within the soul. The number of pradeshas in a soul remains constant, yet the arrangement of these units changes as the soul expands or contracts within different bodies. This concept appears in later commentaries or on the Tattva Sutra and in other analyses. Jain scriptures also describe the different states in which a soul can exist. Souls are divided into two main groups called liberated souls and worldly souls. Liberated souls have removed all karmic matter and exist in a state of perfect knowledge and bliss. Worldly souls remain within the cycle of birth and death and experience different forms of life. The Uttaraddhya Sutra describes the condition of worldly souls and encourages spiritual discipline so that the soul can progress toward liberation. Another detailed classification of jiva appears in the Jain scriptural tradition. Living beings are divided into two categories called strava and trasa. Strava are immobile living beings with the one sense. These include earth body, water body, fire body, and air body, and plant body organisms. Trasa belong beings are mobile beings that possess 2 to 5 senses. These include worms, insects, animals, and humans. This classification appears in texts such as the Acharya Sutra and later philosophical works. Jain scriptures also clarify souls according to their level of spiritual development. Some souls possess the capacity for right faith, while others remain influenced by delusion. Jain philosophy explains this progression through 14 stages of spiritual development, known as gunastanas. These stages describe how the soul gradually develops greater purity and awareness. Early stages involve ignorance and attachment. Later stages involve self-discipline, meditation, and spiritual insight. Jain philosophy also describes 5 types of knowledge that arise from the soul. These are Matinyan, Shuddhanan, Avadhi Gyan, Manapati Gyan, and Keval Gyan. Mati Gyan refers to knowledge gained through all senses and mind. Shruti Gyan refers to knowledge gained through the language and scriptures. Avadhi Gyan refers to a limited form of clairvoyant knowledge. Manapati Gyan refers to knowledge of the thoughts of other beings. The highest form is Keval Gyan, which represents perfect and complete knowledge possessed by liberated beings and enlightened teachers. The natural qualities of the soul remain constant in Jain philosophy. In its pure state, the soul possesses infinite knowledge, infinite perception, infinite bliss, and infinite energy. Jain philosophy describes these qualities as Anantyan, Anandarshan, Anatsukha, and Anantvidya. Jain scriptures explain that these qualities remain present within every soul, even when they do not appear fully. The understanding of Jiva Tattva also explains the importance of non-violence in Jain teachings. Since every living being contains a soul that experiences life, Jain philosophy teaches careful conduct toward all living beings. Mahavira emphasized compassion towards animals, plants, and even microscopic organisms. The Acharanga Sutra records teachings that encourage followers to avoid harm because every soul desires to live and avoid suffering. Jiva Tattva therefore explains the nature of life in Jain philosophy. Every living being contains an eternal soul with the ability to perceive, know, and experience. Jain scriptures describe the soul as conscious, eternal, and have the ability to they are capable of perfect knowledge and bliss. Through understanding the nature of the soul, individuals develop awareness and compassion for the life of the presence of Jiva and all living beings. Jai Janendran, thank you.
He was the son of Saurabh and Itisha Jain. Now we have Vihan Jain, also son of Saurabh and Itisha Jain.
Namaste.
Hello, my name is Vihan Jain, and today we're talking about the foundation of life, understanding Jeev Tattva. Jijinendra, what is Jeev Tattva? When someone asks you what Jeev Tattva is, what would you say? So, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when someone says, what's Jeev Tattva? Now, to most people, it would probably be living things, and that is one of the things that come. But it's also like the 5 sense beings, the 3 sense, the 1 sense. But it isn't just that, it's much more than that. The English translated meaning of Jeev Tattva is living matter. Now, that was one of the first things that came to our head when we heard Jeev Tattva. Most people think that it is what more. This is the only thing to Jeev Tattva there is. What more could there be? Now, Jeev Tattva is one of 9 tattvas. In the vast universe of Jain philosophy, the 9 tattvas serve as a road to the understanding our existence and achieving ultimate happiness. At the very heart of this journey is the first and most important element, Jeev Tattva. Jiva, or the soul, is the only living substance in the universe. Everything else, our clothes, our toys, and even the physical body we are in right now, and we see in the mirror, is a jiva, or non-living. Understanding jiva is the essential first step toward understanding ourselves and our place in this world. The Tattva Sutra defines jiva by its primary characteristics, upya ga, which means consciousness or awareness. Unlike a rock or computer, a jiva has the ability to know, to feel, and to experience. Every jiva possesses 3 main qualities: Gyan, knowledge, which is the ability to know the truth; Darshan, perception, the ability to see and perceive the world; and Sukh, bliss, as the natural state of the soul is to be happy and peaceful. To better understand this, think of the jiva like a light bulb inside a dark room. The glass of the bulb and the metal wires are like our physical body, which is a jiva. However, the electricity that makes the light shine is the jiva. Without the electricity, the bulb is just an object. It is the soul that allows us to feel the warmth of a hug, the taste of food, or the joy of helping a friend. Jainism teaches us that jivas are everywhere and come in many forms, from humans and animals who can move and think, to plants that grow and feel pain, and even tiny microorganisms in the water, air, and soil. Understanding Jiv Tattva changes how we act every day. This realization leads us to the most famous Jain principle, ahimsa or non-violence. When we understand that even a small ant has a soul just like ours, a soul that wants to live and avoid pain, we naturally become more kind. We stop ourselves from stepping on bugs. We chose to be vegetarian. And we speak words to do not hurt the feelings of others by recognizing the soul within ourselves. We find inner peace. And by recognizing the soul in others, we create a world of harmony. Jeev Tattva is not just a definition in a book like the Mokshmala. It is the way of seeing the world with eyes of compassion. As we explore the nine tattvas, let us remember that the journey to moksha begins with respecting the jiva in every living thing. Jai Janendra, thank you.
Thank you, Rian. Now we have Dhawan Jain, son of Shreya and Darpan. Thank you. We are getting some of the things we didn't know, that they are bringing it out. It is a very proud moment for us.
Jai Hind, everyone. My name is Dhawan Jain and I am currently in 12th grade. Let me begin by asking a simple question. What makes a body alive? Science explains the body part, Jainism explains the presence of an awareness. Today, I'm speaking of the first and the most vital of the Nav tattvas, the Jeev tattva, the principle of a living soul. Jain philosophy gives the answer in one word, Chaitanya or consciousness. The body is a temporary physical body, but the soul is a conscious soul that dwells within it. When the soul is present, there is feeling, awareness, and the capacity to know. Jiva is completely distinct from ajiva, the non-living substance. Ajiva includes everything from physical bodies to the gadget we use. Just as a phone cannot function without the power, the body without jiva is merely matter. It cannot function. The identifying mark of jiva is upayoga, the active utilization of consciousness. This is why our scripture states, Upayoga Lakshano Jiva. The soul's true nature is seeing darshana and knowing janana. When Upayoga is clear, we experience peace. When it is clouded, we experience confusion. To progress spiritually, we must practice right identification. We must recognize our soul which is distinct from our body and possessions, yet we must respect every soul as equally real and valuable. This understanding helps us reduce ego and attachment, and it prepares us to live with compassion. The jiva exists in two primary states. A liberated soul, which is siddha, it is free from all karma, disembodied and established at infinite bliss at the apex of the universe. Most of us are sansari jivas, worldly souls traveling through cycle of birth and death. Because the soul is flexible, it pervades the entire body, expanding to fill the body of an elephant or contracting to fill the body of an ant. Jainism teaches us to respect life in all of its forms, so we learn to keep jiva everywhere. Worldly souls are good in a simple way. First, others, however, the single-celled immobile being like plants. Even plants are of two kinds, kakye, where one soul lives in one body, and sadhara, where many souls live in one body, such as certain vegetables. Second are the trasa, where the mobile beings with 2 to 5 senses, ranging from insects, worms, birds, animals, and humans. And the takeaway is very clear here. If life exists in so many forms, ahimsa becomes a daily responsibility, not just an idea. The understanding makes ahimsa truly practical. Every jiva possesses pranas or vitalities, ranging from 4 in one sense being to 10 in us sentient humans. Any injury to this vitality is considered hinsa. So starting today, we can live in ahimsa in small and real ways. Filter water, avoid waste, speak gently. If our soul is pure and potentially divine, why do we suffer? It is because of karma. Subtle matters act like dust on the mirror, obscuring a soul's natural light. To clear this, we move towards moksha by practicing samvar and nirjara. And to align our life with this truth, let us remember the 5 values ahimsa, satya, acharya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. Let us start today by recognizing that we are not just a body, but a pure eternal soul. May our awareness become our compassion. Thank you, Jai Jinendra.
Now we have Loki Ajay, daughter of Shreya and Dr. Jain. Shreya, Loki Ajay number 9.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Jen, and I'm 13 years old. Today, I will be speaking about Jiva Tattva, one of the main principles of Jainism. The word Jiva means living soul, and Tattva means reality. So, Jiva Tattva explains the true nature of the soul. In our ancient scriptures, soul is variously known as Atma, Brahma, Chaitanya, representing the eternal and invisible energy that activates our physical limbs. According to Jain philosophy, every living being has a soul. Humans, animals, birds, insects, plants, and even microscopic organisms all have jiva. Jain literature states that there are 8.4 million species of life, each possessing a unique soul that is uncreated and indestructible. The main quality of jiva is conscience, the ability to feel, think, and know. The conscience is defined as Abhyoga, the soul's innate power of perception and knowledge, which distinguishes us from lifeless matter. For example, when we feel pain or happiness, it is our soul experiencing through our body. A stone cannot feel anything because it is non-living or a jiva. Jainism also explains different types of jiva based on how many senses they have. There are 5 main categories. First, one sense beings, ekindriya. These include earth-bodied, water-bodied, fire-bodied, air-bodied beings, and plants. Within the plant kingdom, we have pratyek jivas, where one soul occupies one body, and, and sadharan jivas, such as vegetable roots, where infant souls share a single body. They can only feel touch. Second, are 2 sense beings, Vendriya, like worms, they can feel touch and taste. Third are 3 sense beings, Trendriya, like ants, which can feel touch, taste, and smell. Fourth are 4 sense beings, Chandriya, like flies, they can also see. Fifth are 5 sense beings, Panchendriya, like humans and animals. They can touch, taste, smell, see, and hear. Among these 5 sense beings, humans have a special ability to think deeply and choose the path of liberation. Animals have 2 parts, Sangi and Asangi. Sangi means that they have man, meaning the way to think, right or wrong, and Asangi means that they do not have any man. Jainism teaches that all souls are equal, no matter how many senses they have. Even a tiny plant has a soul like ours. Every jiva is endowed with vitalities called pranas, including breath, senses, and lifespan. All and the scriptures remind us that any injury to these is considered violence. The difference is only because of karma. The ultimate goal of every jiva is to remove karma and attain moksha, a state of infinite knowledge, happiness, and freedom from birth and death. Understanding Jiva Tattva, is considered Jnana or worth knowing, as it allows us to realize somehow truth that we are the pure soul, not the physical body. Understanding Jiva Tattva helps us practice ahimsa and respect all forms of life. Thank you and Jai Hind.
What is the?
Thank you, Loki. Now we have Arya Mehta, Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
I know Arya Mehta. It's my mistake. Arya Mehta is correct. Arya Mehta. Go ahead, Arya.
In Jainism, the truth is explained through principles called tattvas. Among these, the first and most important tattva is Jeev tattva. Jeev means soul, living beings with consciousness. In other words, the soul has qualities like knowledge, perception, and energy. Jeevs are categorized by their senses. From one sense beings, Ekindriya, to five sense beings, Panchindriya, and whether they are mobile, rasa, or immobile, stava. For example, humans, animals, plants, and microorganisms are all part of it. Humans are considered especially important because they have the greatest ability to practice spiritual discipline and achieve liberation. It emphasizes that the teachings of Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankar, that every soul is capable of attaining this state through the right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. In conclusion, the study of Jeev helps individuals realize their true nature and strive towards spiritual freedom. Mokshmala focuses on these principles to guide the soul towards self-realization and the ultimate liberation from the cycle of suffering. Jai Jinendra. Mind balance.
Good. Very good.
Very good, very good.
Now next we have Aditya Jain, son of Sandeep and Pooja Jain. Number 13.
Jai Jinendra. Jain philosophy in Mokshmala is a collection of spiritual poems written by Srimad Rajchandra at the age of 16. It identifies Jeev Tattva, the principle of soul, as one of the most essential truths to understand on the path to liberation. Similarly, in the Tattva Sutra, Acharya Muswati defines Jeev Tattva as a conscious, sentient substance fundamentally distinct from non-living matter, a Jeev Tattva. Mokshmala describes the various states of the soul, from mobile beings such as plants to mobile beings possessing 2 to 5 senses. The Tattva Sutra further explains that the soul is characterized by its capacity to know and perceive. Although inherently divine, pure, and spiritual, the soul in its worldly condition feels bound by karma. In my research of Jeev Tattva, I have realized the following. Classification of souls. Souls are categorized based on mobility. Immobile one-sense beings are earth-bodied, water-bodied, fire-bodied, air-bodied, and plant-bodied souls. Mobile beings are 2 to 5 sense. 2 sense beings include worms and shells. 3 sense beings include ants and bugs. 4 sense beings include flies and bees. 5 sense beings include humans, animals, celestial beings, and hellish beings. True nature of Jeev Tattva. The Jeev is pure, knowledgeable, and blissful. It is distinct from the body, mind, and karma. Separation of soul from the body. A central theme in Mokshmala is the realization that the soul and body are separate. The soul is the knower, the observer of the body's actions, not the doer. Srimad Rajchandra emphasizes this through reflections on mortality and the impermanence of physical existence. Attributes of the soul. In its pure states, the Jeev possesses infinite knowledge, infinite perception, and infinite bliss. The state of bondage. Though pure by nature, the soul is entangled in karma and therefore subject to the cycle of birth and death. The ultimate goal is moksha. The highest purpose of the Jeev is to eliminate all karmic bondage and attain the state of infinite knowledge, bliss, and perception. The human form. The human form is considered the most favorable for liberation, as only humans possess the capacity for rationality, discipline, and spiritual effort required to break the cycle of birth and death. Path to realization. Progress involves understanding the soul through the three tools of Jainism: right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. Liberation is achieved when the Jeev sheds all karmic matter and exits the cycle of birth and death permanently. In conclusion, the Tattva Sutra teaches that every Jeev is the architect of its own destiny. Through right faith, right conduct, and right knowledge and right conduct, one can halt the influx of karma, samsara, and ultimately achieve complete liberation, moksha. Moksha Mala reinforces that recognizing oneself as a pure, eternal soul rather than a temporary body initiates the process of detachment from worldly suffering. The soul is an indestructible substance responsible for its own evolution. Once freed from all karmic matter, it resides eternally in bliss at the top of the universe. The soul progresses through four states of existence according to its accumulated karma: infernal, plant/animal, human, and divine. Understanding the Jeev as family of karma is essential for attaining moksha, as emphasized in the Tattva Sutra. Thank you, Mahendra uncle, my parents, my teachers, and Jain Center for giving me the opportunity and knowledge to understand this perspective and value of Jeev Tattva. While it may not be possible to achieve moksha in our cosmic timeline, we can certainly practice and do what we can to enlighten our soul by shedding back karma and following the path to stop accumulating back karma. With that, I thank you all for listening. Jai Pant Parmeshji, Jai Janendra.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you. Thank you, Aditya. Now we have number 14, Parth Jain, son of Swati and Gaurav Jain. Swati and Gaurav Jain. How old are you, sir? 10. Very nice. Very proud of you.
Jai Jain, respected all elders, my teachers, my friends, and family. My name is Parth Jain. I'm 10 years old and I study in 4th grade. This is my soul. What do you think? Do you think our soul really looks like this? Does it look covered with dust? In Jainism, we learn that our soul is actually pure, but it gets covered by karma because of our words, thoughts, and actions. It is like being in a cage built by your own karma. Today, I will share a few examples from my daily life to show how I try to clean my soul, which is called Atma Vishuddha. Think of these papers like karma covering my true soul. Jainism teaches us how to remove these layers and discover our pure soul. The first layer is anger. A few days ago, I was playing soccer and one of my friends pushed me. I became very angry and felt like punching him back. At first, I couldn't. He did it on purpose. This is called Nirakar Apyog, when we judge something without really thinking of it carefully. But then I tried to think more deeply. This is called Sakar Apyog. which means understanding the situation better. I asked myself, that friend that pushed me shares snacks with me and invites me to his birthday party every year. Would he really try to hurt me? Maybe it was just an accident during the game. Then I used some Jane tools: humility, forgiveness, and compassion. When I chose forgiveness, my anger slowly disappeared. I felt peaceful and did not lose my friend. That was a happy ending. The second layer is wrong belief. My parents often tell me enough playing games. Sometimes I feel this is very unfair. I asked them to get me a phone because my friends have one and I don't. I think all my friends can play whenever they want, but my parents explain everyone needs a balanced life. At my age, I should study, play outside, do sports, go to school, and go to partial. This shows my mind has become, which means lots of unnecessary thoughts and confusion. But when I listen and understand, I realize they are trying to help me grow in the right way. My last example is about animals. When me and my mom go for walks, sometimes we see baby turtles that have lost their ways. We gently pick them up and put them near the lake. Sometimes turtles come into our garage. When they do, we keep them safe for a while and release them when they're strong. When I see little turtles on the road, it makes me very sad. It reminds me that animals also need our care and compassion.
Very nice.
Now we have number 50, Vijay Jain. Vijay Jain, son of Bhavna and Gauri. Gauri.
Ahimsa Chaitanya. Ahimsa Paramo Dharma Ki.
Jai Ho.
Today, I would like to talk about Jiva, one of the most important ideas in Jain Dharma. It helps us understand what a soul is and how it plays a role in our lives. The word Jiva means our life or soul, and the word Jiv means life or soul, and Tattva means essence or principle. To put it simply, Jiv Tattva is the essence of life that exists in all living beings. To understand this better, the concept of Jiv is explained in Jain scriptures like Mokshlama, written by Srimad Rajchandra, and also the Tattva Sutra, written by Upmavati. Jiv Tattva tells us about that every living being has a soul. Imagine a tiny little spark inside you that gives you life. This spark is your Jiv. It's what makes you, you. In the Tattva Sutra, it explains that the soul is eternal, meaning it never dies. Just like how a video game character can keep coming back even if they lose a life, our soul keeps existing even after our body stops working. Another interesting thing about the soul about Jiva is that the soul exists in many different forms of life. Jain philosophy says that some living beings have one sense, like plants that can only feel touch. Others have more senses, like animals and humans who can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Even though their abilities are different, the souls inside them are equally valuable. For example, when we water a plant or protect an insect instead of harming it, we are respecting the jiva inside of that living being. Thus, this idea helps us understand why Jainism teaches ahimsa, or nonviolence, towards all forms of life. According to Mokshlama, the soul goes through many experiences. Think of it like a school where you learn different lessons. Each time you live, you get to learn something new. If you do good deeds, your soul becomes brighter and happier. But if you do bad deeds, your soul gets a little dimmer. For example, if you love a friend or share your toys, your soul shines bright. But if you're mean or lie, your soul gets covered in shadows. This is why it's important to be kind and do good things. It's not just about being nice to others. It's also about taking care of your own soul. The ultimate goal of our soul, according to these texts, is to achieve liberation or moksha.
Think of moksha as graduation day for the soul. When you graduate, you're free to explore new adventures without any worries. In the same way, when the soul achieves moksha, it is free from the cycle of birth and death. Imagine playing a video game where you keep restarting the same level because you keep making mistakes. Getting to moksha is like finally finishing the game and moving on to a new one. It means you've learned all the lessons you need to learn. In conclusion, Jeev Tattva teaches us that we all have a soul that is valuable and eternal. Through our actions, we can either brighten our soul or dim it. So, the teachings from these texts remind us that being good and kind is essential not just for others, but for our own growth. So, let's try to be the best version of ourselves by keeping our thoughts and actions pure, shining our light brightly, and working towards the goal of liberation. Jai Shri.
Thank you. Now we have number 16, Shreya Jain, daughter of Khushbu and Sudhanshu Jain. How old are you? 9.
जय जिनेंद्र, मेरा नाम श्रेया जैन है और मैं 9 साल की हूँ। आज मैं 9 तत्वों के बारे में बात करेंगे और उसमें से पहला जीव तत्व। जैन धर्म में कहा गया है कि इन 9 तत्वों को समझना जरूरी है मोक्ष पाने के लिए। जीव क्या है? जीव मतलब आत्मा, जिसमें आत्मा है वह है जीव। जैसे आप, मैं, birds, animals, insects or plants सब जीव हैं। जीव के mainly 2 types हैं, स्थावर जीव और ट्रस्ट जीव। स्थावर जीव में एक इंद्रिय स्पर्श या टच वाला सेंस होता है। यह जीव अपने आप मूव नहीं कर सकते हैं। स्थावर जीव 5 तरह के होते हैं। पृथ्वी का अर्थ बॉडीड सोल्स, जो अर्थ में रहने वाले सूक्ष्म जीव होते हैं, जैसे मिट्टी, पत्थर, सोना, चांदी और कोई मेटल्स। अपकाय या जलकाय मतलब वाटर बॉडीड सोल्स, पानी में रहने वाले सूक्ष्म जीव जैसे आइस, स्नो, फॉग एंड रेनड्रॉप्स। एक पानी के बूंद में इनफाइनाइट पार्टिकल्स होते हैं, मतलब इनफाइनाइट सोल्स। अग्निकाय मतलब फायर बॉडीड सोल्स, जो आग में रहने वाले सूक्ष्म जीव जैसे कैंडल फ्लेम्स में, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में और लाइटनिंग में। वायुकाय एयर बॉडीड सोल्स, जो हवा में रहने वाले सूक्ष्म जीव होते हैं, जैसे विंड, साइक्लोन्स और टोर्नेडोज। वनस्पतिकाय प्लांट बॉडीड सोल्स, जो ट्रीज, सीड्स, प्लांट्स में रहने वाले सूक्ष्म जीव होते हैं। अब दूसरी तरह की जीव, ट्रस्ट जीव। ट्रस्ट जीव के पास एक से ज्यादा इंद्रिय होते हैं और अपने आप मूव कर सकते हैं। 4 तरह के ट्रस्ट जीव होते हैं। 2 इंद्रिय, 2 सेंस बीइंग्स that can taste, जैसे worms, insects and termites। 3 इंद्रिय, 3 sense beings, touch, taste and smell, जैसे lice, moths, centipedes, etc. 4 sense beings या 4 इंद्रिय, touch, taste, smell and sight. Some examples are flies, spiders, beetles, etc. 5 इंद्रिय वाले beings, 5 sense beings, like us, monkeys, dogs and cats. The 5 senses are touch, taste, smell, sight and hearing. इसलिए हमें चींटी, इंसेक्ट या किसी को भी नहीं मारना चाहिए। पानी या इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं वेस्ट करना चाहिए। बिना कारण के प्लांट्स नहीं तोड़ने चाहिए और नॉन वेज नहीं खाना चाहिए। इन सब में जीव है, हर जीव समान है। हमें कंपैशन रखना चाहिए। जब हम अच्छे कर्म करते हैं, हमारी आत्मा प्योर होती है और हम मोक्ष की ओर बढ़ते हैं। आइए हम सभी भगवान महावीर के बताए रास्ते पर चले और हर जीव को रिस्पेक्ट करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
That's something.
Very proud of the parents.
Very good.
Very proud of
Shreya.
Shreya. Number 17, Arush Jain. Arush Jain.
Khushbu and Sudhan. Sudhan.
Arush Jain.
Jai Jinendra, everyone. My name is Arush Jain and I'm 10 years old. Today, I want to ask you a big question. Who are you? Are you your name, your clothes, your body? In Jainism, the first and most important truth is Jeev Tattva. Jeev means soul, and it's the most precious thing in your own. Yet, it's the only thing you can see in the mirror. Jeev is like an indivisible driver. Think about the remote controlled car. It has wheels, a shiny body, and batteries. But if nobody has the remote to tell it where to go, it just sits there. Our body is like a car, like that car. In Jainism, we call a body a jeev, non-living, but the driver, the one who decides to smile, the one who feels happy, and the one who learns at school, that is jeev. That is the jeev. Without the jeev, the body cannot move, think, or feel. You're not a car. You are the driver. The power of the knowing is the signature of the jeev. How do we know a jeev is there? Through chesna, which means consciousness. If you trip over a stone, does the stone cry? No. If you leave a computer in the rain, does it feel cold? No. That's because they are a jeev. But if you're hungry, you know it. If the puppy is happy, it wags its tail. Even a plant knows to grow towards the sunlight. That power of knowing and feeling is the signature of the jeev. Bhagwan Mahavir taught us that every jeev is full of infinite knowledge and happiness. So why don't we know everything right now? Imagine a bright light bulb covered by thick, dusty blankets. The room is dark, but the light isn't gone. It's just hidden. Our bad habits like anger or lying are like those dusty blankets. Every time we're kind, we pull a blanket off. Every time we help someone, the light of our jeep shines a little brighter. Understanding jeep Tattva changes how we treat. We realize that a tiny ant has a jeep just like ours. We don't want to step on it. We realize that every living thing wants to be happy and live in peace.
So remember, you're our powerful living soul. Living soul, you have the light of a Tirthankara inside you. Let's work on uncovering that light every day with our kindness and our prayers. Thank you everyone and Jai Janendra.
Thank you, Arun. Now we have Bhavya Jain, Bhavya Soni, number 18. Well experienced and well researched by her mother, Padmini Soni. She wanted the last moment entry, but she came prepared. Thank you to everyone. Bhavya.
Jai Janendra, everyone. Thank you so much, Mahendra Uncle, and thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate the time that you're taking to hear us out, and thank you, judges, for listening to every participant. Before I start, I want to say that, in the everyday life, हम भूल जाते हैं जरा सबको याद करना. I mean, I don't really listen or, listen to any prayers or go out of my way to listen to any lectures unless it's a Sunday. And then हम मंदिर आते हैं और मंदिर में तो अच्छा लगता है. But because of Mahendra Uncle's competition, I was able to, research more on this, learn more. I miss Pathshala. Let's do Pathshala for, the older kids too. And I'm excited to, continue learning. And yeah, so I'll get started. Moksha marga se netaram netaram, karam hu pratam, yakaram vishwa, tatvanam vande tadgun late. Long before mountains rose or oceans formed, the universe already existed in a vast and eternal structure described in the teachings of the Tattva Sutra. Jain philosophy explains reality through fundamental truths called tattva, which reveal the essential nature of existence. Among these are the 9 great principles known as the non-tattva, which describe how the souls exist, how they become bound by karma, and how they may one day become free. These include the living soul, known as the jiva, the non-living substances called ajiv, the inflow of karmic particles known as ashra, the binding of those particles called band, the results of actions known as punya and pap, and the stopping of karmic inflow called sangha, and also the shedding of accumulated karma known as nirjara, and finally the ultimate state of freedom known as moksha. Among all these truths, the most important is the nature of the soul itself. Now imagine the universe when only the smallest particle of matter drifted silently through space. One tiny particle, a Parmanu, floated through the endless expanse of the Akash, the space that provides room for all existence. Over time, it encountered other Parmanus, and together they combined into clusters of matter called Budgal. These clusters eventually form the physical elements of the universe: earth, water, fire, air. Their movement and stillness were made possible by subtle cosmic principles known as dharma, or the medium of motion, and adharma, medium of rest, while kal, time itself, allowed change to unfold. Yet matter alone does not make up the universe. Scattered throughout this cosmic space are countless conscious beings known as jivas, the living souls whose essential nature is awareness and experience. In their pure state, souls possess extraordinary qualities: Anant Gyan, Anant Darshan, Anant Sukh, and Anant Virya. However, most souls do not experience these qualities because they wander through samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death. A traditional analogy explains this clearly. The soul is like a bright lamp covered in soot. The lamp shines perfectly, but the soot blocks its light. In the same way, the soul's true nature is covered by karmic matter. Among the countless souls traveling through the universe is one small jiva, beginning its long journey through existence. At first, it exists in the simplest form of life. Many souls remain for long periods in extremely basic states, such as mriga, where life is microscopic and awareness is minimal. As matter formed droplets of water, the soul was once born as a water-bodied being, also known as Abkai. possessing only the sense of touch. Jain philosophy teaches that living beings can be classified by the senses they possess. The simplest are 8 individuals. One sense being, such as earth body being Prithvi Kai, water body beings Up fire body beings Tejas Kai, air bodies beings Vayu Kai, and plant life Vanaspati Kai. Mobile beings known as Drashjivs possess multiple senses, including animals, insects, and humans. As the soul continues its journey, it moves through many of these forms, sometimes as plant life rooted in the soil, sometimes as an animal exploring the world with greater awareness. Through every life, the soul interacted with matter and accumulated karma. Whenever it reacted with anger, pride, deceit, or greed, karmic particles flow toward it through ashra and attach themselves through bandh. Good actions created punya, bringing pleasant circumstances, while harmful actions create pap, leading to suffering. Because of these karmic forces, the soul continued to move through different states of existence. Jain teachings explain that wandering soul, called samsari jivs, may be born into 4 major realms. Celestial beings, known as Dev, human beings, called Manush, animals and plants, known as Tryansh, and suffering beings in hellish states, called Narak. After countless lifetimes, the soul was finally born as a human being. This birth was extremely rare and precious because humans have the ability to reflect, learn spiritual teachings, and consciously choose their actions. Yet, even in human life, the soul is faced with a powerful illusion known as mithya, the belief that the soul is the body itself. The person thought, I am this body, and reacted to every pleasure and pain around them. For example, when the person ate a sweet piece of mithai, the mind experienced pleasure and clung to that feeling. Although the sweetness lasted only for a moment, the emotional reaction attracted karmic particles that could bind the soul for much longer. Over time, however, the person encountered the teachings of the jinnas and began to understand the true nature of the soul. They realized that the soul is separate from the body, and that reacting strongly to pleasures and pains only deepens karmic bondage. Wanting to purify the soul, the person began to practice important ethical principles taught in Jain philosophy. One of the most important of these was ahimsa, the principle of non-violence toward all living beings. Because every organism, from humans to plants to microscopic life, contains a soul, and harming them creates negative karma. The person began practicing ahimsa by becoming vegetarian, refusing to eat animals because doing so would destroy living beings with multiple senses. They tried to eat simple foods that caused the least harm possible and avoid wasting foods. They also became careful about everyday actions, such as watching where they walked so that they would not step on insects, and speak gently so that their words would not hurt others. Along with non-violence, the person practiced satya, the principle of truthfulness. They tried to speak honestly and avoid words that could deceive or harm others. They also practiced aparigraha, the practice of non-attachment and limiting possessions. Instead of constantly seeking more wealth, objects, or pleasure, they tried to live simply and reduce their desires. By controlling attachment and practicing these virtues, the person slowly reduced the inflow of karma through samvara and began to weaken old karmas through nurture. The soul understood that liberation would not happen instantly. It remained a samsari chief, still traveling through the cycle of birth and death like you and me. Yet it now carried a clear goal. One day, through continued discipline, compassion, and self-control, it hoped to free itself completely from karmic bondage. When that day eventually comes, the soul will become a liberated soul, being known as a Mukti, rising naturally to the highest point of the universe called Sit Shiva, where liberated souls exist forever in perfect knowledge, perception, and bliss. For now, however, the journey continues, and so does ours. The soul, and so do we, hope to practice non-violence, truthfulness, and non-attachment in everyday life, hoping to purify itself step by step. Just as tiny parmanus slowly combine to form the vast universe, small actions of compassion and discipline gradually transform the soul. Each careful choice brings it closer to the day when it may leave some far behind and finally realize its true nature. I want to end on a little fact that my mom told me. So every second, countless souls are born into existence. Gen Wisdom describes this rarity through striking numbers. Out of 100 billion living beings born every second, 99 billion remain among the most basic life forms, such as neurons and other one-sense beings. Of the remaining billion, 990 million fall into hellish states. And of those left, 9.9 million take birth as animals and other non-human beings. Among the small number that attain human birth, about 100,000, only a few are born in places where spiritual knowledge is accessible. Indeed, fewer still are born into families where the teachings of the Jinnah are known and practiced. In the end, Jain tradition reminds us of an astonishing truth. Out of 100 billion souls that are born every second, perhaps only one attains a human birth in a Jain family. Such a birth is not ordinary. It is the fruit of immense punya, spiritual merit accumulated over countless lives. To understand Jiva Tattva, to know the path of Ahimsa, and to learn the way toward moksha is therefore an extraordinary opportunity. The greatest responsibility of this rare birth is simple. Do not waste it. When we truly understand the journey of the soul, every step we take becomes gentler, every action more mindful, and every life around us more precious. In that realization lies the true meaning of the Jiva Tattva.
Combined a jar of Jesus. And she spoke from here. Excellent research, Bhavya. Thank you. Thank you. Now we have another good student. I repeat again, a good student who had been from beginning of the essay competition. He learned it so many things by heart, especially Srimati, and his name is Kabir Jain. He wrote a book which was presented to Amazon, and it is on Amazon for sale. He's writing another book for Amazon. So, but he's not here, so I requested him through his parents that if he now, if he sent his video, he's in a competition in Orlando. Most of the time he travels for the competition, and he has sent his video from Orlando. So he is a participant, so he should get the mark. And but he threw the video. There are other people who could not show up. I requested that they can come to video, but 5 people didn't show up. So give them the marks, whatever they deserve, but he's a part of this essay competition. Kabir Jain. He is the son of Bhavna and Dhawan Jain.
Kabir Khan.
Sorry.
Probably on my way back from Orlando. I don't know how many people spoke about now. Here that I'll look at them today will not follow the same as him. So without further ado, let's get this started. Think of the following scenario: a family in a house with a dust storm approaching. They have to close the windows and keep up the dust and turn off the under. Some of you may recall this scenario technology, but not that close to Jameson. As an overview, you know 4 values of Jameson, that consists of the following 9 channels. View, touch, up, Ashwin, Bun, Sunflower, Vijay, and Motion. And the scenario that I mentioned above, it's a story to remember forward from the and what they were doing. Our focus for that. So this is this family in the house all the people. Here's most important part. Is central to Judaism. We can discuss the physical soul that exists in all living beings. But really, that's just oversimplifying it. Chief has much more to it than this. Jameson points out that there are 8.4 million species from which the gene cycle. Since the soul and the body are considered separate, one's soul basically switches those, and they feel very abstract way of explaining reincarnation. Now, these 8.4 million species don't just consist of plants and animals. They cover
as elements, literal elements such as fire. All of these have G and are living. Now, these species are both mainly classified, but in other senses they have from 1 to 5. They're called A-Indian, B-Indian, Tree-Indian, Indian, and Punch-Indian. And I'm sure many examples have been provided or will be provided by the others, so I won't really explain that too much. The more important fact is that all of these have a sense of touch and need the other senses in this order: taste, smell, sight, and last is hearing. Us humans, we are touch aware. And I mention humans specifically because in the context of the non-tattvas and veganism, we are the only species, the only living species of jeev that can attain Kaivalya and moksha. Not monkeys, not cows, and most certainly not the lizards stuck in your house somewhere. Just humans. And if this already sounds familiar, there's plenty more of them. Of all the human beings on this planet, a ridiculously low number of them even attempt to have enlightenment because of its sheer dedication. Right? One that takes this path has the ultimate goal of stopping and shredding all karma from their soul to open it up to the state beyond and liberation. Does this sound simple? I really hope not, but if it does, allow me to introduce another important aspect of jeeves that make this even more difficult. Prana. There are 10 total prans or vitalities that any given jeev could have, depending on its classification. In addition to the 5 senses that listed above, the other 5 prans consist of Manobal, the ability to think, Vachanbal, the ability to speak, Kayabal, the ability to move one's body, Swachochmas, the ability to breathe on a cellular, and Ayushya, the ability to live. While other jeeves may not have all of these, we like to have all 10. The tricky thing is, an injury or a violation of any one of these prans is an injury to the soul. It is thought falling into the soul and blocking it from its goal. We must not use any of these prans for ill if we intend to continue on this path to enlightenment. And as a final point, I'd like to go back to our half-mentioned reincarnation a few minutes ago. I can do better than that. Jeev is in a constant cycle of birth and death called samsara. If one body dies, depending on the punya and path in the life lived, the soul's new body can either be closer or farther from the human being. With a better life lived, consisting of more punya, getting the soul closer to being a human. This cycle can only be broken through attaining moksha, thereby elevating the state of the pure soul. Otherwise, we're just stuck in this cycle of birth, death, different species, different whatever, forever. And thus is the importance of the journey that jeev goes through to become pure. And thus is the importance of jeev in the non-tattvas. We are not defined by our physical bodies. We are defined by our soul. We control our soul in any influx to it, and any influx of karma to it, good or bad. Thus, we must choose to bring ourselves closer to moksha, the final of non-tattvas, the final goal. And thus, we can shut the windows to the house and let our jeev live in a pure environment like it so dearly desires to. Although the journey is long, it all starts here with the jeev. All we have to do is make the right choice. Thank you all, and Jay.
Thank you, Kavita, and thank you, Miss Parent, for the space to make the video, and it was very nice for you. The last one, we have Manasvi Shah, daughter of Parag and Vedanta Shah. She worked very hard. She came in the last moment, but she's very active in the school. But she found the time for the essay competition, and she had been with us in the essay competition from the beginning of the essay competition. So, Manasvi Shah.
Thank you, Manjadata, and Jai Jinala, everyone. My name is Manasvi Shah. From the first Tirthankar Adi one to the last Tirthankar Mahavir Swamiji to even now, we all have existed. According to a Jain principle called Jeev Tattva, in a past life, millions and millions of years ago, my soul existed. Jeev Tattva explains that while the body dies, after every cycle of birth, life, and death, the soul never dies. Everyone, including me and you, have Jiv Tattva, also known as Chetan, which again never dies. There are two kinds of Jiv Tattva. First is samsara, the concept that states a soul is bonded to the mortal body. In any life, it is stuck inside of his body like a battery powering a machine. Jiv or soul works like a mirror, which is a knower of everything. The time it becomes a doer, it binds karma. The soul is then unable to escape the eternal cycle of lives and deaths. The second kind of jiv is known as siddh. It explains how the soul is completely free from all karma. It is free from the cycle of life and death and the so-called mortal body. This is the true form of the soul. This tattva applies to all living beings, whether it be a human, animal, plant, or even a little insect. All living beings follow the cycle of birth, life, and death. Hence, they all have Jiv Tattva. The goal of Jiv is to achieve Keval Gyan, or absolute knowledge, and liberate its soul from any Siddh Tattva. Bhagwan Mahavir said to know yourself. He meant to know that you are a soul and not the body you are currently living in. There are millions of scriptures that have been written explaining these tattvas. The supreme goal of this human birth is to understand the importance of this birth and work towards our goal to free our soul from samsara and reach Siddh Tattva. But because of our ignorance, we forget the existence and concept of our soul, and we end up bound to the five senses and to samsara as a mortal. Hence, we are not free as a soul. Our soul won't be free even after the billions of birth and death cycles. We as mortals continuously search for worldly pleasures, small moments of achievements or happiness, such as winning a prize, buying new clothes or cars, houses, and so on, with no purpose of achieving the goal of the soul. While happiness of Jiv Tattva's real nature, it's wrong to desire and seek happiness from the materialistic world. Ironically, we are looking for happiness constantly outside, but it exists purely within us. The acknowledgement of our soul is what ultimately leads to the infinite cycle to end. According to Jain and Hindu scriptures, there are around 8.4 billion different lives currently living on this planet. However, we all have one thing in common, known as Jiv Tattva, the soul's full and undying existence. Only because of its existence we can complete our daily tasks and functions, like eating, sleeping, thinking, blinking, and many more. However, we ignore the reason why can we do all of it, why we function, why do we feel, why we do anything and everything. It's because of the immortal part of every single living being, the soul. Because of the lack of understanding, we find ourselves existing in millions, even trillions of bodies in a never-ending cycle that can only be ended through the acknowledgement and the acceptance of the soul and the concept of Jiv Tattva. This acceptance that I am a soul is the first step of our journey to attain the utmost goal. As a final remark, I would like to end with a line from Srimaji. Jai Swarup Samjya Vina Pamyo Dukara. Thank you all for your time. Jai Shri.
The essay competition is over. And I like to say to all the participants that you have won every minute of it. And I like to congratulate. And I also like to congratulate all the parents. They have given hours and hours to learn what is Jiv Tattva, which is the biggest achievement. And they learn to teach their children is another biggest achievement. Let's give them a big hand. Another thing I like to congratulate their center and their EC team to put this essay competition back. And I'm very proud of them, and I like to see that we carry out to finish to 9 tattvas. And the second tattva will be Jiv Tattva. Jiv Tattva. And they will announce it when the competition is. The prizes will remain the same. I want to see all the parents and the children. They come prepared, and I'm very proud of them. They're all here, and we had almost 20 entries, but 5 we couldn't show up. But if we did from beginning, maybe we can have 20 people or more. So I'm very proud of them. Thank you very much. Another thing I like to thank both the judges because they have Yeah. करो तैयार करो. And I like to thank both the judges, Iraben Muria and Ashavan Shah. Now they are preparing to fight. They know it yet. Yeah. Five minutes, lane and all. And so we can have the winner still. Then another thing I like to especially thank our editor Sandeep Jain. He did a very, very good job in promoting the African people. Another thing I like to confess myself, I repeat again, I like to confess myself that what the parents did and what the children did at this age, I didn't have that chance at that age. My parents, I was unfortunate they didn't teach me this high Jainism. I learned later days, but I think this is the right thing to learn. And I like to bow to all the parents for their hard work. I also like to bow to all these children who have learned the Jesus at this age. Is not nectar and vitamin to all the children and the parents. You can take the same message. This is the nectar of the Jeev Tattva. If you really desire more, then I am Jeev. This is the only thing you need. You don't need no prayer. Why? The Jeev Tattva has given himself. He becomes the God, he becomes the Guru, and he becomes the Atma Soparma. It's very important. It does not belong to any religion. It does not belong to any religion. Jeev Tattva is Jeev Tattva. You are born according to your karma. And I like to share with all these parents and the children, this is the Jeev Tattva. It's you that is within yourself. It's you that is within yourself. It's within your reach. It's not outside. It's up to you to choose yourself. Bhagwan Mahavir and says Adinath Bhagwan, we have been doing so many kriyas. For the meaning after all those kriyas is to know thyself. To know thyself. After all the kriyas, puja, samaya, pratikam, tirthyatra, to know thyself and victory for God. And this is the important thing is for God. Since when? जब से काल का प्रारंभ हुआ है, तब से हमने जीव तत्व को भूला किया। मैं जीव तत्व हूँ। My only purpose of this essay competition was that we let these parents know and what that they let teach the children. This is the nectar of Jain religion. आप जितनी भी पूजा करने चाहते हो करो, सामायिक करना चाहते हो तो करो, प्रतिक्रमण करना चाहते हो करो, इसको जानने के लिए यदि वो नहीं जाना और नहीं किया और आपने कहीं किया तो उसमें सारी क्रिया आ जाती है। और मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, आचार्य विजय के सत्संगी महाराज आत्मविशुद्धि एवरीबॉडी हैज Any book is written on the 14th chapter. 14th chapter में जीव तत्व उसको स्वीकार लो, आपका मोह सुधर जाएगा. Very important. You don't know what they have given to us. What the जीव तत्व means, we don't know. आप कभी भी परेशान हो, कभी भी परेशान हो, कोई भी दुख हो संसारिक, शांति से बैठो, जीव तत्व वो जो दुख आया है वो दुख जीव तत्व में है नहीं। आपका वो दुख बनाया आप नहीं बनाए। जीव तत्व में दुख है ही नहीं। जीव तत्व है his own constitution, but उनका स्टार्ट वहां से होता है, ये जीव तत्व। उसका मार्ग कितना है? कोटि कर्म करते, एक बार बोले ये जीव तत्व हो, कोटि कर्म युग, अनंत ज्ञानावली कर्म नाश हो जाते हैं। तो जीव तत्व में एक चीज है और है the most important thing, केवल ज्ञान उसी में छिपा है। केवल ज्ञान बाहर से नहीं है, आपकी अंदर ही केवल ज्ञान है, आपकी अंदर ही है। तो उनका आप आश्रय लेोगे तो आप कहाँ जाओगे? आज तक हमने इसका आश्रय लिया ही नहीं, सोचा भी नहीं है। मैं पुरुष हूँ, स्त्री हूँ, जैन हूँ, वैष्णव हूँ, नहीं, मैं जीव हूँ। आज इसको आज तक हमने स्वीकारा नहीं। कब से? अनंत काल से, billions and billions and billions of birth and death cycle. We have done so many punyas, but not the dharma. Dharma begins accepting and being. इसमें 12 नंबर 12 होता है, 12 9 बोलो 8 2 मिनट लगते आप बोलो मैं जीव तत्व। तो आपसे किसका स्वीकार किया? आपका स्वीकार, वही धर्म। So I'm very proud that all the parents work very hard to learn. I think they will find the importance of learning what is different. Then it has taught their children. So very proud of their children. Their children above you, above them, they spoke a teaching which I didn't do. I didn't do it, but I learned very later in the life. But I learned the right thing because I was a right guru. And found out later by studying him, following him. आज तक हम उनको ही भूल गए, हमको ही भूल गए और हम ही सुख ढूंढते हैं। हमको भूल के हम भूल गए, यही अपनी मिस्टेक। वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। So it was a good subject. To start with, I like to thank all the EC members that they passed it, they reached where it has to. I like to thank all the sponsors to make this thing very fruitful and give a big motivation to the children. Very important, very important. Next subject will be Adhista, the most poisonous, जिसको हम बहुत प्यार करते हैं, हम बहुत प्यार करते हैं। It starts with our body. So, EC will announce it in the next set of population, and which is Adhista. So let's wait for it. And I'd like to thank again for Sandeep Jain for making. He was very enthusiastic to promote this subject matter. So very happy to have you all to come here, listen to them. It's a big patient. So it's a very good thing. I'm waiting for the judges to come. So we have the prize distribution. And then, Aarti and Manoj, and we anything else you want to say?
No. Let Amit make announcement, whatever he has. Let Amit make any announcement if he has.
If there's
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, Mahendra Bhai, for arranging this essay competition. We as parents also get to learn a lot when we are trying to prepare the kids for the essay competition. I would also like to thank all the participants who have put in all the effort. Thank you so much. And also a big thank you to the Pathshala teachers who have accommodated this changing schedule. So thank you so much. On the upcoming schedule, March 15th, which is next Sunday, we'll have lecture with Samichi. March 22nd, following week, we'll have lecture with Mahendra Bhai. March 29th, we'll have a session with Sandeep Jain on our website and a few other stuff.
Very good.
April 5th, we will have Snatan Puja. And then April 12th, we have our annual Bharat Janma Pradhana function. We have opened our sponsorship for NJK and would request a community to please pledge. We have also put the list on the board, so whoever is interested can put down their name there. On today's food sponsorship, today's food is sponsored by Hemant and Karutakkar and Bhavik and Meeta Kakkar. Thank you so much for your support. We are looking for sponsors. We are looking for sponsors for 15th March and 29th March. So if anybody is interested, please get in touch with us. And one last thing, RSVP. RSVP deadline is every Thursday. Just one request, if you have done an RSVP and if you want to change the RSVP, if your plan changes, you can just redo the RSVP again and we will consider your second RSVP as the final RSVP. Again, I know you probably, most of you have RSVP and you guys are here, but there are many others who have RSVP and they are not here today, which is not good. So I keep announcing this. We have 130 RSVPs today, but I don't see 130 people here. So I'll keep announcing. So please cooperate and try to do RSVPs by Thursday evening. I think that's all for now. So we'll just wait for the judges to announce the results.
So I want to talk a little bit about 29. So this came out of the asks from a lot of different people. So we have a website, we have our presence on YouTube, and we have our presence in Instagram as well. So we're going to do a walkthrough to that. And also, I've been talking with Deepika Pan off and on over the past 2 years. You know, Jainism is a very scientific religion. Everything we do, everything we believe in, there is logic and science behind it. It's not. I'm not saying that it's modern science-based religion, but modern science, I believe, is catching up. A lot of things we, like few years ago, 20 years ago, people were making fun of yoga and Indian ways of natural healing and things like that. And now people believe that's the best thing to do. Similarly, I believe that for thousands and thousands of years, what we have practiced as Jains, there is truth in it. It's not just blind faith. It's a lot more than that. So on 29th, we'll discuss that and we'll present the scientific aspect of Jainism. And I'm pretty sure, regardless of how much knowledge you have about Jainism, there will be something you'll find interesting in that session. Just wanted to share what I saw. And when they come, let's take a picture as well. I hope we are not missing any participant.
Yeah, Sandeep bhai, उनको पूछो ना कुछ जरूरत है? If they need any help to count tabulation.
Okay.
If they need it, then I can go ahead and help them.
Okay.
Which is
the letter. Did you change the schedule?
Just for today.
See, actually, it's all recording, 15, 20.
I think it's a great interest.
બોલાવો આ લોકોને ફોટો લેવો ફોટો લેવો ધવલ પડે પછી
Okay, okay. Otherwise I can go and help them.
I told them about you.
I just asked them also.
Yeah. But they were only two, that's why.
But then very knowledgeable, so.
आप निकाल दो।
आप ही ले लो, 2-3 लाइन भी बढ़ रहा है। मैं नहीं, मैं तो कर ही दे। So.
standing next to each other.
Yeah, come.
Honestly.
थोड़ा इधर ना अंतर के बीच में मत छोड़।
બરાબર આવે છે એ આગળ પાછળ
हाँ, I think अभी आ रहे हैं।
अभी सबका फेस आ रहा है।
And once you get from this way.
No, actually सबका फेस आ रहा है। I can see it. Smile kids. You did a
Say
wonderful
cheese.
job.
Say cheese.
Amazing job.
excellent. Thank you very much. Very nice. Chopra girls.
Any more comments from the parents?
I really enjoyed each and every case. They did an amazing job. Amazing job. Thank you.
Very confident, very confident.
Yeah.
No, they can be lot of.
Like I don't have word to say it, like to learn this one and say in front of the people. That's very nice. Kavya was missing in the picture.
We can take another look at this.
Yeah, પણ હવે છોકરાઓ પાછા. Battery was low. This phone has a battery was low.
I think we are, yeah, I don't know.
આ વસ્તુ સાંભળવાની હોય ત્યારે પાછળ I know, imagine the people are talking and talking. Next on the little one. Excellent. Gone. I know. But okay, people that go and ask them and they say, oh, we are doing so we have to wait. તમને પૂછું કે ના 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 એટલે એ લોકો લખી કે અને આ